So, a quick disclaimer. I am not telling you how to feel, nor am I trying to change anybody's mind. This is my perspective and my perspective only. I'm not one to blindly love nor praise people for everything they do. Also, this is a review, so if there's something I dislike, then I'll let you know. I want to be as transparent and as brutally honest as I possibly can. So if that's something that you can't really get behind, maybe this video isn't for you. To stay organized, I'm going to divide this video into 5 sections. The first, an introduction. The second will be my favorite parts of the era. The third will be an overall look into the music and the ranking of the songs. The fourth will be any potential criticism I might have. And I'll just close with my final thoughts at the end. They released this a while ago and I heard it and digested it when it first came out, but only now did I actually decide to write about it. And since they already announced their new comeback, I am hoping I can finish this before they release it. I used to be the biggest Blink, so I really wanted to make this video. I pretty much hate every entertainment company at this point, so my distaste for YG isn't really a secret, and I do stand by everything I've said in the past. The problem with Blackpink's musicality, lack of content, and overall lack of presence in the music industry is still very much pertinent to this day. The girls are still marketed as 4 individual acts instead of as a group, and their activities involve brand deals way more than actual music. YG had been promising this album practically since their debut and kept postponing it for years. Blinks truly are the most patient fandom out there, and my heart goes to them. The album is their first full-length studio album, despite them being part of the music industry for 4 years at the time, 6 now. It's a 24-minute listen with a lot of lyrical diversity and vulnerability we hadn't really heard from Blackpink since they debuted. Sonically, it sounds like an album made by a pop artist in 2010, and I think my biggest problem with it is that it really doesn't stray from what they've been doing so far, and as a result, it brings with it the same criticisms I've had since the beginning of their debut. Especially since we all know YG loves to take inspiration from past music years, and for the most part, it prevents Blackpink's music from sounding current. However, it also brings with it a lot of strengths that they already had and enhances them, something which I'm going to go way more in depth on later on. Also, as a side note, I know I am very late, 2 years late, and all of this has been out for a while, but I still wanted to give my take on everything that was born from this era of the album and maybe give a new perspective 2 years later. I was very much excited about this album. The album was an amazing next and unexpected step for Blackpink. I honestly didn't think it would happen. When Kill This Love came out, I thought we were going to get at least 2 more mini albums, Rosé solo, to calm the fans, and then disbandment. Then How You Like That came out, and I slowly lost all hope of any type of development Blackpink might have for their following comebacks. But I have to say, I was very pleasantly surprised by this. Aside from the music, which I'll talk about later, the amount of content we got was truly a blessing. It still wasn't nearly enough to forget about 2019, but it's still nice to see the girls without the overbearing presence of the company being felt in scripts, actions, and interactions between the members. Although I do have to say, it seems like we're back to square one 2 years after. We got so many live stages for this comeback, and I couldn't have been happier. The energy was definitely there during the performances. Rosé was my absolute favorite part of the performances, especially in the How You Like That stages. Her charisma was off the charts, and the improvement in vocals and stability was very clear. Most of the time, Blackpink's stage outfits are very much hit or miss for me. I feel my biggest problem is the cohesiveness. It's like each member belongs to a different stage, but I am obsessed with these pants and these outfits. So I'm happy to see more consistency in their outfits and just overall presence. I will say as a parenthesis that even though I loved some of Rosé's outfits, I do wish they would stop giving her skirts. I feel that for her comfort, longer baggy bottoms would suit her not only better but beautifully and would be just a better choice overall. I was also very much excited about the show. I mean, the fact that Blackpink was having a concert with sufficient songs to be respectable was such a treat. The performances were good, aside from the very valid criticism people might have of their vocal ability and how they struggled during the show, especially during Lisa's solo stage. I was glad to see them in concert again since they tend to feel more comfortable in that environment and therefore show off more of their skills. I will admit I was not as obsessed with the fashion as much as everyone else seemed to be, but I did love it. These black and white outfits and plaid outfits were just amazing. And I am completely and utterly obsessed with Jennie's solo outfit. I think overall I really like them with very specific exceptions that I hated. And I do stand by what I said about giving Rosie longer bottoms though. Now we can finally go in depth on what truly is important in an album: the music. I heard even before it was released that Jennie and Jisoo were involved in the production and writing of Lovesick Girls. And yes, the contribution was minimal, but it was still a type of freedom, no matter how little the girls hadn't been able to experience before. It gave the song vulnerability that I feel had been missing from their last releases. This album feels like a letter to all of the experiences that come from being in a relationship. It's definitely not overly complicated, nor does it follow a story that connects all the songs, but it does feel like an album where songs were thought through and put together for a reason. Okay, so let's just get with the ranking, and just so you know, I'll go into heavy detail on the songs that had eras and music videos.
Ice cream, chillin', chillin', ice cream, chillin'. Ice cream, chillin', chillin', ice cream, chillin'. Ice cream, chillin', chillin', ice cream, chillin'. Ice cream, chillin', chillin', ice cream.
I don't like this song. The slow-mo ice cream is the worst.
Ice cream.
The mixing is also so bad. There's no chorus. I honestly think Teddy got tired of people complaining about Blackpink's choruses and decided to omit it from this track entirely. The lyrics are also very cringy and lazy. They were so bad. I don't even know what to say. Blackpink has never really had tracks that were lyrically interesting, and they don't have to be. I swear they don't have to be. But this was just beyond bad. Chillin' like a villain, baby, rah, rah, rah. It sounds like rhymes you would literally find in a Disney movie.
Chillin' like a villain, yeah, rah, rah, rah. 미친 듯한 속도 in my life, rah. He'll be chillin', chillin', oh, chillin' like a villain.
And yes, I understand it's a common phrase, but my point still stands. After I'm a star but no Patrick, I honestly think whoever is writing Lisa's raps needs to kindly leave the industry. I also think the Korean rap was completely unnecessary since the song had been completely in English, and I really didn't appreciate how it felt like Jisoo's position as a lead vocalist was being undermined because she can't speak English. She got like 2 lines in her own song. This is a Blackpink song with Selena, and yet Jisoo was nowhere to be found. Selena and Rosé were the saving graces of the song. I feel that Rosé's voice fits the song perfectly, and I was disappointed to see she and Jisoo got the least amount of lines, especially since I do think they would have given the song texture, since Selena and Jennie have very similar colors to their voice. I do, however, think the visuals were incredible, as they always are with Blackpink. The set design was fabulous, the outfits, the wigs, and the makeup were on point, and they handled Selena not being in the same set as them fairly well. Selena has honestly never looked better, and her charisma was amazing throughout the video. On a more positive note, I do think this is one of the best collaborations made by a K-pop group. It wasn't a true artistic collaboration by any means, but I do think it was a very smart one. They gave her a good amount of screen time, and the song was obviously not made to center one artist over the other. By artist, I mean Blackpink as a group, because the line distribution was horrendous. I also believe Selena was a perfect choice. Selena is known for her sultry, deep, unique tone. Technique-wise, I do think she's on the same level as most of the Blackpink members, and just like Selena, the Blackpink girls are known for their distinct and unique voices, and she was an amazing addition because of this. All of their voices are recognizable and she fits perfectly as if she were another member of the group. She didn't outshine Blackpink nor the other way around. We unfortunately didn't get to see a choreography with all of them together, and I am not about to analyze Cepito figures. Also, this song is admittedly very catchy.
I went crazy over you. Over you, only you.
Honestly, the only saving grace of this song is Lisa and the opening instrumental. It follows the Blackpink formula even more strictly than How You Like That. It's definitely not a terrible song, but it is very hollow, and every time I want to listen to it, I'll just skip to Lisa's verses. Just the aggression in her voice and her delivery is great. Lyrically, again, it isn't very interesting, but they do have some good lines that I really like. Venom to dead him if he wants a snake.
Got the venom to dead him if he want a snake.
I like that line. It's not horrible, but it's definitely one of their weaker songs. How You Like That is such a weird song. I went from hating it to hating it again to liking parts of the song. The promotion and marketing for this pre-release truly built up the hype for the song, and unfortunately, I do think the teasers were better than the song itself. How You Like That is honestly disappointing. It's not a terrible song by any means, and I find myself liking it a lot more now than when it first came out. But the song is just honestly very messy. And I was very disappointed when I realized it was just another generic sounding girl crush song. It continues along the Teddy-produced template of their past singles like D4 and Kill This Love, following the Blackpink formula to a T, even to member order, and I do feel it boxed them in back in their debut sound and image.
Boom, yeah.
The song opens with Jennie, as per usual. I usually prefer her rapping, but she sounded great. The song actually starts with a lot of promise. It has this freezing electro beat and a very emotional beginning, more so than what we're used to from Blackpink. The pre-chorus is one of the best ones I've heard, and Jisoo's voice really shines in this. She got a longer verse this time, and they allowed her to sing in her range, something that I very much appreciate because her wine dark voice is very attractive to me. But afterwards, honestly, the song just lost its footing and wasn't really able to regain it. That chorus sounds hollow, and it's honestly a bit tiresome. The lyrics... Okay, so the lyrics weren't as awful as everyone else seemed to think at the time. It's a generic dance song and it isn't lyrically deep, and it really doesn't have to be. The song knows what it is and sticks to it, and I do think that is its biggest strength. I do think people needed to just stop trying to find deeper meanings in it. Again, the lyrics aren't awful, but that doesn't automatically mean that they're profound, because they really aren't. And no, random symbolism in a music video won't make the lyrics any deeper. The fashion was amazing. Jisoo looks the best. Her pants and rainbow combat boots, the oversized shirt in her opening lines, and her messy waves. I also love Lisa's short hair, even if I hated her pink and red wig. And I'm sorry because I know they're iconic. And even if I want Black Say back to save her hair from falling off, I do really love her in lighter tones. And the cool purple hair makes her look very regal. Jennie's hair is my favorite out of the four. Her red dress was also breathtakingly sexy. The How You Like That era was just a blessing for visuals. I did hear about the video controversy during Lisa's scene. Before I even found out what happened, the image had already been removed when I watched the video for the first time. I am still, to this day, very disappointed that the company didn't release a formal apology or announcement. Not only was a religious object used as a prop, but it was also defiled by placing it on the ground. Furthermore, the scene mixes a lot of cultures together with very inaccurate depictions of them, putting them together as if they were all the same and using them for aesthetics. So I am, to this day, 2 years later, truly disappointed. Aside from that, it has the same problem every other Blackpink music video has, which is the fact that they have random scenes that look very cool and aesthetically pleasing, but have no correlation or connection with each other. Other than that, it's a very well produced music video.
But you never know unless you walk in my shoes. You never know, I'm kept out in the gun. 'Cause everybody sees what they wanna see.
This is one of the best Blackpink ballads, no question about it. Even if I don't like Blackpink's ballads normally, this one wasn't bad. Whilst Stay sounded juvenile and honestly a bit lackluster, and Hope Not was one note throughout with very corny lyrics in my opinion, You Never Know opted for better personal lyrics. Even if it's still a bit cliche now and then, their vocals completely stole the show on this song. I do have to say that this song wasn't as sincere as Blink's made it out to be. I'll speak more on what turns me off this song later, but as far as a Blackpink ballad goes, this one is for sure the best one.
I bet you wanna, I bet you wanna, I bet you, I bet you, I bet you wanna, I bet you wanna, I bet you wanna. Something about me's taking you high.
Bet You Wanna is very girly. It's an up-tempo track and it somehow still feels very Blackpink, and I really like the lyrics to this song.
Wanna touch, of course you wanna run with my love, I know you wanna. From the club to the tub, you said you wanna give me an all-night hug, I bet you wanna, I bet you wanna, I bet you wanna, I bet you, I bet you, I bet you wanna.
I just love how Rosé delivers her lines and how she vocalizes each word in a quintessential Rosé manner, and she's undoubtedly the standout of this song with some of the best vocals we've heard from her.
Something about me's taking you higher, and you ain't ever gonna come down. You ain't ever taking you higher, and you ain't.
Jisoo's English and pronunciation of the words was also perfect. Her deep, husky, mature vocals were a much needed break from the more energetic delivery of the other members. And I really enjoyed Cardi on this song, and I think that her flow added some red to Blackpink's usual colors, and it's a change from the normal rap style we're used to from Lisa and occasionally Jennie. I do feel though that this song didn't really know what to do with Lisa. She was just a little lost. I think with the addition of Cardi, the song just didn't know what to do with a second rapper, and she was restricted to snippets on the first verse and a little bit of singing on the bridge. I also don't understand why they didn't perform this on the show. They performed Sour Candy, which is not even a Blackpink song, so I just don't understand why they didn't perform Bet You Wanna. Other than that, it isn't my favorite song, but I do really like it. I really like this song. Lisa's little chant might be my favorite part of the song.
Wake up, yeah, make up, maybe I need you now. I've been good lately, blowing up, working busy.
And Rosé's vocals were absolutely amazing. Jisoo sounded fantastic, and I feel she truly got to shine on this album to show more of her deep voice.
사랑은 slipping and falling, 사랑은 killing your darling. 아프다 아프면 또 탄탄해 네 겁없는 떨림. 들리지 않아 what you say.
Okay, so here's where I'm really going to go into detail. Lovesick Girls satisfied a lot of fans and non-fans, and I can completely and utterly see why. It sounds nothing like their usual tracks, and to its credit, it's a much needed breath from their usual formula. It's a much more coherent song in terms of storytelling and lyrics, and it capitalizes on sentiment instead of marketability. It's still a dance pop song, which is very much Blackpink, but here you can hear the guitar-driven melody, and that just allows for more emotive verses, and I just love that. It still follows the YG trend of taking influences from past years, and you can hear a couple of 2010 songs in Lovesick Girls.
We are the lovesick girls. 네 멋대로 내 사랑을 끝낼 순 없어. They say you're a freak when we're having fun. Say you must be high when we're spreading love. Here's to my ex. Hey, look at me now. I'm all the way up. I swear you'll never bring me down.
It just immediately reminded me of a song in 2014 produced by David Guetta, and I feel that instead of nostalgic, it may sound outdated. I am a sucker for lyrics and writing, and I've been disappointed with Blackpink in this specific regard. Even though I do have some criticism, I really like the lyrics here. Sometimes it honestly felt like they were talking about generic feelings. However, I am very happy with this. I feel the lack of rhyme just shows how new Jennie and Jisoo are to writing. Everyone starts somewhere, and this was already fantastic, so I'm excited to see their progress and development in this new album. The entire last part of the song, the bridge included, was easily the best part, and no one can tell me otherwise. This is Rosé's song. Her vocals were beautiful and her acting was phenomenal. You could see the emotions even in the shaking of her hands. And even if it's very on the nose, I liked the symbolism that came from covering the pink wall of her first apartment with the love of her life with black paint after she gets her heart broken. I just feel Rosé suits these types of indie-inspired songs perfectly. And one of the reasons why Rosé is my bias in Blackpink is because out of the 4 members, she definitely seems to be the more passionate one in regards to music and its industry. And in this video, that passion just bleeds through. This music video is my favorite from Blackpink. And yes, I already watched Pink Venom, and this one's still my favorite. It reminds me a bit of Stay or Playing with Fire, which is fantastic because it doesn't sound overly produced. The fashion in both the music video and live stages was spectacular. I wasn't very sure about Rosé's neon pink hair at first, but she won me over and she toned down the pink afterwards and I was just obsessed. I love her 2-piece orange outfit and her grungy look during the choreography scenes. Jisoo took my breath away with her scenes in the flowers and Lisa's leather jacket.
I want it!
And I think short hair really suits her. And I've always preferred Lisa with darker colors, so I'm glad she kept her hair black. Again, I do know about the controversy with the nurse outfit. I know her outfit wasn't inherently sexual, nor was it meant to be that way, which is something that the company themselves stated. But honestly, none of us know what a good or bad representation is if we're not the ones being misrepresented. The nurses are the ones who know best what could be damaging to their image and their experiences as nurses. And if you aren't a nurse in Korea specifically, then it really isn't your place to give your unfiltered opinion. This was a genuine mistake, but I'm very glad the company responded. However, the people that were speaking about this topic saying Jennie was being somehow censored, that's just wrong. Blackpink is so popular internationally that how they portray a certain thing will be met by the eyes of millions, and how nurses are treated in Korea regarding the belittling of their job and sexual assault, I don't think it's anyone's place but theirs to speak on the subject. I am, however, very glad the company decided to respect the nurses' wishes and just replace those scenes. Pretty Savage features a heavy pop trap bass line that paired perfectly with their raps. This type of song is what I've been waiting for from them since I heard Boom Baya for the first time. And this may be unpopular, but I don't actually think it would be a good main single, since the only jobs Lovesick Girl had was to not sound like D4 or Kill This Love, and Pretty Savage follows the usual Blackpink formula very closely. But you can't tell me this isn't amazing. From the entirety of the album, Pretty Savage and Lovesick Girls were the only two songs that aged well 2 years later. Their formula works, and their concept suits them. They just needed new and creative ways to apply it. This sounds like they actually cared about the lyrics and thought about the rhymes, using the word bitch to go along with the wordplay in the pre-chorus. Amazing. And it reminded me a lot of Solo and its wordplay.
Bitch, 나는 solo. 검은색 분홍 bitch, all up in it, make it lit like.
I will admit, I hated this choreography. Even though I was very happy they were promoting the song, I just didn't like it. Actually, no, that's a lie. I watched the original choreography and I loved it. I didn't like the execution of it by the girls. And I think YG just needs to start choreographing dances they can carry out. Other than that, I give the song a solid 10 out of 10. Their first full album is aptly titled The Album. This is very anticlimactic as the use of the word full is debatable. It's extremely short. For comparison, most mini albums have 6 to 7 songs, and Blackpink's first full album has 8. Also, calling it The Album was just a terrible choice. YG basically said, yes, we know Blackpink has no content, and we know you want it. So after 4 years, here, 8 songs, the minimum amount for it to be an album. It's condescending, and it just reinforces this brand of exclusivity Blackpink has. YG was basically gifting Blinks an album because it's not something Blackpink is expected to do, unlike with literally any other group, and not just K-pop, but literally any other artist in the world. I also understand why they called it The Show, but I don't know. I feel they took this concept to an extreme, and it just seems like lack of creativity and effort. I want to quickly speak on You Never Know. From all of the songs in this album, they should have allowed the girls creative freedom in this one. No matter how much whoever wrote this song try, they will never understand what it's like to be an idol, and specifically a Blackpink member. This song was a motivational ballad with seemingly personal lyrics about the hate they received and the horrible experiences that come from being one of the biggest girl groups right now, and the detrimental effects it had on their mental health. Yet, they had no part in the writing or producing of this song. This leads me to believe this song is a quick escape plan YG drafted to excuse whatever controversy was going on in 2018. You Never Know was specifically made so Blinks could rub it in the face of people who even try to mention Blackpink. It's not a bad song, again, and as far as Blackpink ballads go, this one's by far the best one. And if you like it, that's great, but it just isn't as life-changing as I feel Blinks wanted it to be. I don't hate the How You Like That choreography, but it's definitely not up to the level their choreographies used to be. Pretty Savage had a lackluster choreography, and this was an amazing song done dirty in my opinion. The choreographies for their B-sides in The Show were also very colorless and just unimaginative. YG needs to give Lisa the dance breaks to herself and let her shine as a dancer. Watching the original version of the dance for Pretty Savage, Lisa was the only one that was able to execute it correctly. So either give them a choreography they can all pull off, or give the spotlight to your main dancer in dance-heavy beat drops. My last point of criticism is the controversies throughout the era and music videos. This is especially a big issue with Blackpink because they have a history of cultural appropriation and racism, and never has the company issued an apology for it. I do think the girls need to be held accountable, especially since more than half of their music videos have some sort of cultural appropriation or offensive implication towards religion, culture, or race. In Bombaya, they mock Native Americans in the chorus. In D4, Jennie uses a bindi. In Kill This Love, Lisa uses box braids, and Jennie uses bindis as well. In How You Like That, Lisa stands above a Desi statue and is wearing grills, and I'll link the history of teeth so you understand why that's relevant. In Money, Lisa's wearing box braids again. And there's way more examples. And I didn't even mention the amount of AAVE they use in their lyrics. They are grown women and they have to be held to that standard. If you're a global artist, you need to respect global audiences. It's honestly that easy. Aside from the criticism I may have of this album, I like it. You can tell it's a whole concept that was planned through and not a rushed EP like Kill This Love. It took way too long to make, and no, it wasn't good enough to garner 3 years of waiting, but I am very happy with this. The songs feel very Blackpink, everyone shined this era, and I can pinpoint which member owned which song. Also, the amount of content Blink's got from this comeback and the engagement with fans was the best since their debut. Although nowadays it seems like they're back to square one. And even if I don't particularly feel this album aged well, the songs are still very iconic. YG finally took charge and exploited Blackpink's marketability in a good, effective way this time. I thought I was never going to hear this album seriously. However, we do need to talk about this concerning trend with Blackpink, because as much as I wanted to think this was a step in the right direction, we're literally back to square one. I hate it when people throw unnecessary hate towards this group that is clearly filled with talent, but at the same time, I also hate it when they throw unnecessary love and praise. Blackpink being the #1 girl group with almost no discography is not something to be proud of.
That's not something to be fucking proud of, Cassie.
Or something people should be praising or showing off. It's literal proof that their music is not the reason for their success, and that marketing is way more important than talent, and the girls deserve better. They finally announced a comeback, and I already heard Pink Venom, and I'll do a video on it. And as excited as I am, I also know better than to place any trust on YG. Let's just hope they don't disappear again afterwards.